Good afternoon, listener. I want to thank you for taking interest to see my video. It is mutually beneficial relationship. You will be entertained and um, educated, and also it will help me to improve myself in order to begin to uh, give back to you substance that will improve us mutually. And I want to thank you so much. As you can see in the news or on social media or in the public, the subtle drum of war that is going on between Minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria and the military. You can see that some military veterans and the serving officer, they've come together to condemn the action of the minister, and there's some politicians, including scholars and professors, in return also condemn the action of the military officer that is being celebrated on social media. But the issue is that where lies the law? Where lies the law? That is what you and I should be concerned about. That is, the education aspect of everything that we see every day. But before we go, I just want to entertain us a little bit. This video, caught my comical fancy, and also you will also laugh as well.
Get out! Shut up! Who does that? Will you shut up? Get away! I was in school when you get like school. Now who's that? You are a big fool. You are a fool. I am not a fool. Don't have money talk. I am not a fool. You are a big fool. I am not a fool. You are coming closer. I am not a fool. Because I'm a road man. I will just come out and sit like judge.
Thank you. So at this stage, let's cut to the chase and then go down to the nitty-gritty. Today, I just want to consider some key issues that are relevant to the issue. The key issues that I want us to look at is the Minister Wike powers under administrative law and procedural action. We also look at the officer Yeriman's action vis-a-vis the Navy, self-governing authority. We also look at the judiciary in play in this action. The judiciary as the final arbiter. At what point would all these parties approach the judiciary for adjudication of their matter? So this class is just separated into three parts. So the first part is focused on the Minister Wike administrative law and administrative action. Minister Wike is empowered to administer authority under the Land Use Act, authority on the lands in Federal Capital Territory, including the dispute arising therefrom. His power is not personal and is not bound by administrative law, and is bound by administrative law. That is, he must observe the procedure of law. It must not be personal. He can bring his family issues to adjudication of land in Federal Capital Territory, and then he cannot also bring his political alignment into bear in administering its constitutional or legal authority on the issue. He needs to serve the appropriate notices to interested person. He needs to follow the procedure in injecting or evicting or revoking their statutory document they may have in respect of that land. He cannot. He must engage proper administrative and procedural action. Administrative and procedural action. I'm going to explain this to us very soon. Engage the Federal Capital Development Authority officials utilize the rank and file, I repeat, the rank and file, to execute his duties legally. If officials fail to enforce resistance, he must escalate the matter. Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is that the minister, when you come into play with this kind of scenario, you should not jump into the fray, just jump into the street like a tout going about and then doing those job himself. There are some persons that have been employed and they are paid regularly who sit on bureaucratic bench or benches, in the official and the rank and file. There are some directors that is level from 14 to 17 or thereabout. There are some from level, the lower rank, that's the rank and file. They are supposed to do their jobs. They are supposed to do their job with honor and get paid. If they are not able to do that, that does not mean that you should just leave his office and take laws into his hand. He must observe administrative law, administrative and procedural action. That is, he must look at the other party who is involved. Where are they coming from? Then he must consult when it is involved other agency of government. He must reach out to their hierarchy and see how it can be resolved. It cannot be resolved, then he must escalate the matter to the president or the presidency. If the presidency is unable to resolve it, then there is another window. We are going to consider that window. But before then, let's consider the let's go to part 2 of this matter. Part 2 of this class, that is the self-governing authority of the military, the autonomy under the armed forces. The Navy is not reliant on the Nigerian police to secure its assets. The Armed Forces Act empowers the Navy to police its own property. The Navy can investigate its own personnel and administer justice internally. Use of court martial for internal justice administration. In summary, what I'm trying to explain to you is that under the Armed Forces Act 2014, about the regulate the armed forces, like a mini community in Nigeria. They have their own head of government in form of chief of defense staff. They have the judiciary. They have their own police force. They have their university. They have their development center. They have their own commercial system where they meet the internal commercial needs of the military without compromising the security of themselves, the security of the service, and the security of the nation. This is very important. So therefore, it is my jurisprudential thinking, and it is sound in law, that the military, they have power to protect their own properties and the property of any person that comes into their service or services without engaging the police authority. As some of you are aware, our national assets in Niger Delta are being guided or protected by the naval and the military. Even the police are not sufficient enough to do that because they are in power to do so, to keep the territorial integrity. When we talk about territorial integrity, it can be interpreted by the chief security officer, which is the president or the presidency in this instance. So let's go to the third one, which I said the last window that is available for Minister Wike. The last window that is available for Minister Wike is, which is the party, is seeking judicial intervention. Minister Wike must seek judicial intervention in this matter. If the procedural action fails him, or the hierarchy of the person or agency involved and the presidency of SOFIM, he can approach the court for adjudication over this matter, for the enforcement, for the interpretation of the Constitution and enforcement of his statutory powers. And the court must obey. So therefore, based on that, all power and authority must obey court orders. They must obey court order in this instance. They must obey court order, including the president, including the military. Everybody under the law is subject to do that. Reinforces the principle that judiciary is the final arbiter. And finally, no person authority is above the law. No person authority is above the law, including the minister Wike is not above the law in this instance. He must observe the law. The presidency too must observe the law in discharging their constitutional responsibility and action. I want to say thank you for listening to me, and I'll continue to show out videos like this to educate our minds. It's a free service, and then you will benefit most kindly. Thank you for coming, and God bless. Amen.